and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I am April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
I was waiting for Justin.
Oh, he's not here.
Oh my God.
Well, who's the other person who's here?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Colin Cunningham. I thought there was like a ghost sitting in Justin's chair or something like that.
Yes. So sickness has befallen the No Such Thing as a Bad Movie studio.
Really?
Yes. So Justin is sick. He is unable to record this week. But he is on the mend from what I hear.
Yep.
So he's doing better. But for this week, it's just going to be me and Colin, and the Bad Movie Lottery winner episode will be out next time.
Yeah, so, hopefully we're going to record that as soon as Justin's better.
Yep. So stay tuned for that. But for this one, we decided to keep the schedule going, and we're going to record a little catch-up episode on things that we've been watching lately. Movies and
movies and TV.
Movies and some TV shows. There's a lot of new stuff coming out.
It's a lot of content in the world right now.
Oh, well, I mean,
film
right
content,
now or just always or
TV content.
Well, you're right. Like,
I hate when people call it content.
I know.
It's so gross.
But like, honestly, there is a lot of movies coming out now because it's Oscar season.
Yep.
And I haven't seen hardly any of
Which
the
means
ones
it's
in
screener
content.
season for me.
That's right. So we did get some screeners, but most of it is stuff that is on streaming anyway.
Yeah, some of it, but you get the odd one that's pretty cool.
Well, actually, we'll want to start out with that. One movie that we watched via screener that's in theaters right now is the new Puss in Boots movie.
Yeah.
The Last Wish.
I think so, yeah.
And it's also on streaming.
Puss in Boots, The Last Wish Hunter.
Yes. The Last Wish Hunter.
Starring Vin Diesel.
You can rent it, I believe, for like the $25.99 or
just see it in the theaters.
Honestly, I would recommend seeing this in the theater.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I wanted to see this in a theater, but it was like, well, we got a screener, it's free, let's watch it at home. But this movie would absolutely benefit from a theater watch with a beautiful sound system and a nice big... I wonder if it's playing in IMAX. No, IMAX right now is nothing but Avatar.
Yeah, that's for sure. This one was a real surprise. I mean, I haven't seen any of the Shrek movies. I've had no desire to see them at all.
You're probably fine. I mean, and if Justin was here, he would say we grew up with Shrek, which is not exactly true.
I did not.
We were like in like grade 8 or something when Shrek came out.
They have never appealed to me at all. So.
I don't blame you. Like, they really have. For me, they've aged like milk, as you would say. I did like the first one. I thought it was very funny when it came out, but I never liked Shrek or Donkey. I thought they were annoying, and I kind of liked the Fiona character. But I thought the side characters were funny, and I liked the idea of this like fractured fairy tale world.
All the characters just looked really ugly.
Well, in the first one,
I don't know. Did it
honestly,
get any better?
No, going through, not really. But I saw not all the Shreks. I think I tapped out at 3, and then I saw like a little bit of 4.
They just never appealed to me. They kind of just looked like crap. So.
Yeah, but
Puss in Boots, I guess, was in the 3rd or 2nd?
The second
one. So he got his own spin-off, which I never saw.
So I saw that spin-off. I remember watching it like I was working late at night. I was working like a late night shift at work, so it was like dark office, and I was like, I'm throwing the Puss in Boots movie on, and I liked it because there's a lot of cute cat stuff in it.
Of course,
I'm a big cat fan.
You got Antonio Banderas. He's doing those cute little cats. Speaking of cats,
honestly, what more could you want? Antonio Banderas has such a velvety voice, and you put him in this cat character who is essentially Zorro. It's kind of a dumb joke, but it's enough now for them to make 2 whole movies out of and like appear in the Shrek movies. Yeah,
so this one, I mean, I saw the trailer. I don't know, I wasn't really into it, but then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, they're doing the Spider-Verse thing, I guess.
The trailer completely convinced me, oh, I want to see this.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's interesting. They're just ripping off the Spider-Verse style, but it's the trailer makes it look like the entire movie is that way, and it's just a few scenes. It's used very sparingly.
No, it's like all the action scenes, and there are a lot, but it's definitely not the majority of the movie. It's maybe 30%.
Yeah, if that. But the style of it, like, it doesn't look like a photoreal kind of Pixar movie. It has like a kind of painterly style to like the textures,
the
and
art
the look
style.
of it.
Yeah, I wish I knew like painter styles. It looks like an oil painting.
Yeah, it does have a different feel than the other one. So, okay, I was going to give it a chance, whatever. And we got it for free. We checked it out. What a surprise. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already knew I wanted to see it, and I had been hearing really positive reviews.
Yeah.
But I was blown away. Like, I mean, I hate to make this comparison, but it was like a Pixar level of like a tight story. And like, honestly, Pixar lately hasn't even been that good.
Yeah.
It's like Pixar Renaissance level, I guess, of like tight story, really good characters. Like, honestly, I can't think of anything I didn't like about the movie.
Great voices, like,
good voice
Antonio
acting.
Banderas, what's his nuts? Ray Winstone.
Is you got good. Olivia Colman and Florence Pugh, who was the biggest surprise to me because I've never heard her do a British accent, which I believe she is British, so that is her native accent. And she was just so, I don't know, charming, and yet she's kind of like a mean character a little bit. I don't know. She's like this character that you're not really sure if she's good or bad. She's
Goldilocks, basically. She's got the three bears. One of them is Ray Winstone, who has such a good voice.
They all have Cockney accents.
Yeah, I could listen to Ray Winstone talk forever. Like, his voice is so good in this, and it fits the character so well. Mm-hmm. And also side characters like Death. The gag is that Puss in Boots is like on his last life, basically. He's died 8 times.
Yeah, there's kind of a storyline where everybody wants this wish, and I was really happy how fast the plot started.
Yeah,
it sets up Puss perfectly, and then like we get a little bit of his story, and then we're in this magical forest really fast.
John Mulaney is like the bad guy.
Who I've never been a big fan of, but he was very good in this.
He plays it well. And
who's he? Little Jack Horner.
Yeah, now Big Jack Horner.
Yeah.
And stalking Puss the entire way is the Death character, which is Wolf, who is played by Wagner Moura, Pablo Escobar from Narcos.
Has he done anything else?
Oh, yeah.
That I would know him from?
Well, not that you would know him from.
Is he like a Latin American actor who's probably been in
Brazilian,
like a Brazilian?
I think. Brazilian, he was in a movie called Elite Squad, which was the director of the RoboCop remake.
Oh, yes.
And the guy who went on to direct Narcos.
Oh, cool.
He was in, I think, 2 Elite Squad movies. He was in Elysium, the Neil Blomkamp movie. Mm-hmm. His voice is so good. His character in this movie is so good.
Yes, he kind of is.
He's kind of the Grim Reaper, but
he's actually like a bounty hunter who's after Puss in Boots.
Yeah, but like when he shows up, man, his character is so cool and
very ominous
and like scary when he's just wrecking Puss in Boots.
He's huge, first of all, in comparison to this little cat.
But they do it goes all anime, like he's like cutting tables in half.
The fight
like
sequences, you flying through the air with like the streaks behind them.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So speaking of the action sequences, how we mentioned how it really only looks like Spider-Verse in frame rate for those scenes.
Yeah,
the art style is Spider-Verse-esque, but as we were saying, it was more painter as opposed to comic book.
Yeah, but
it pulled a reverse James Cameron where there is actually a low frame rate for the action scenes as opposed to a high frame rate. And I can't tell you how well it worked. And honestly, it makes you like sit forward and go, whoa, okay, now I'm going to see something really cool.
Yeah, it has a very like anime style to it, I think, especially when Wagner Moura's character shows up. And and like genuinely kind of scary. Like his character.
A very good villain.
Like, oh man, this is good.
Oh, also Jiminy Cricket.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him.
No one's talking about that.
He's like the Jimmy Stewart.
He's literally doing a Jimmy Stewart. And like, I forget, I looked up like who does the actor, who does Jiminy in the original Pinocchio, who does sound kind of like Jimmy Stewart. A little bit, yeah. But this actor is literally doing Jimmy Stewart, and it's so funny.
Yeah, he's on John Mulaney's like shoulder. He's like, I'm your conscience. And he's horrified by what John Mulaney's doing. He's like, oh my God, you're going to shoot a puppy.
It was honestly like the comic highlight of the movie.
Funny.
In a movie that already has lots of funny things.
Yeah, and then you have, I don't know the actor's name, but he plays Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I forget his name, but he's been doing a lot of voice acting these days.
Yeah.
He's in the Batman series. He was great. He plays
this little chihuahua, which I was very worried about when you usually have the cute innocent sidekick.
It's not just the cute sidekick, it's the annoying sidekick.
Yeah.
And it's annoying to our main characters. And believe me, he does at first. But he grows on them, and he kind of grows on everybody.
He's really good. And I was very worried. And I'm not like I've kind of given up on North American animated movies. Like I haven't watched a Pixar movie, I don't think.
You've been saying that like since I met you, and I would say don't give up.
But
you don't watch like non-North American things either. You don't watch a lot of like Japanese stuff.
I watch your like anime shows, and when I'm around, I have no problem with that.
You see them sometime. One of them is on this list.
Yeah, but I just have no interest in any of these CG animated films. Like zero.
Look at Turning Red. I mean, that was fantastic. But it's starting to be kind of the minority now that you find a good one. And there are there's other animated movies out that I just haven't seen. The Bad Guys, people say that is good. That's like a bunch of animals rob a bank or something. I know it's hard.
It's like, always talking animals.
It's hard to
I don't care.
Well, that's what Puss is.
Yeah, well, this is done well.
By the way, Selma Hayek is in it, and she's good too.
Yeah. Really good.
She's kind of playing a similar character to Puss in Boots, though, so I'm glad they threw that dog in there.
Kitty Soft Paws.
Yeah. It was just a really fun movie, and it was also very heartfelt and like about real thing. Like it's, again, much like Pinocchio, it's about life and death.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like bloated it's like one of those movies where they kind of give it to these two directors and it's like nobody kind of expects it to be good or anything, and they
well, I mean, I don't think anyone expected a Puss in Boots movie to be this like innovative.
No, yeah, it's really good, and it does its own thing. Whatever. It doesn't rip off the Spider-Verse style entirely, but it suits the movie and it does its own thing. It has its own style.
I definitely would say though, like if you liked Spider-Verse, you would like this.
Yeah, I mean they're different, but they're audiences.
But they're similar in a lot of ways. And like again, this is a cartoon for older kids and adults. It's not like I hesitate to say, oh, this is not for babies, but it is like a more mature story.
Kids would be terrified at the wolf. Jesus Christ. I mean, I was like,
well,
wow.
I mean, I told my sister to let her children watch Pinocchio, and she was like, yeah, the oldest, she was kind of freaked out when she saw Pinocchio. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's a little too
when all the Nazi salutes
for your 4-year-old. But adults would like it.
Sure, yeah. It's a fun movie. It's much, much, much better than it had any reason to be, and much better than I expected, for sure. So this was a little pleasant. Hello. Let me speak again. This is a pleasant surprise. A little treat, if you will.
Absolutely.
Now, what else did we see? We saw, first of all, we saw Glass Onion in the theater.
Yeah, I'm really glad we got to see that in a theater. It was fun to watch. Although I saw the first one in a theater, too.
I did not.
Although that wasn't a Netflix movie, was it?
No,
that's right. But yeah, it was fun, like kind of getting the reactions of people. It was like a full theater.
Yeah, and it was playing. It had like a 2-week run before it came onto Netflix, which is good. It made a ton of cash too in the theater, but Netflix like pulled it out. They could have kept it going, but they didn't.
Yeah, I would say it's as good or maybe even better than the original. I think I'd need to go back and see the original first because it's been so long.
Yeah, it feels very different. It feels a little bit more broad with the comedy.
It does feel more broad, and also at the time I was like, I'm tired of like the pandemic being a plot point in movies. It's like I know it because this is like I'm done with this, but it just happened, so it's like I understand why it had, but it's just like people are Skyping in, and it's just like that was one thing that bugged me about the movie. But overall, I definitely enjoyed the.
And it felt a little long too. I think it was like 2.
I feel like the first one was also long.
I feel like this is.
I don't
want to
like give away anything about the plot, but fun characters, definitely some funny dialogue.
Oh yeah, for sure. Daniel Craig is really funny. You get to see him wear a lot of like funny outfits, which is
Daniel
great.
Craig, I think, is like probably the best thing about both these movies.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it's like he's genuinely funny in this, and you're just like, fuck, he should do more comedy. He's so good.
He should. Like he's done comedy a few times in his career.
Yeah, it's just funny to see him like jump into this like whole new kind of franchise. He's like leaving Bond and playing a completely opposite character.
Think that they're going to keep going? Like,
well, they're already doing the third one.
Oh, they're like filming.
Well, Rian Johnson basically, Netflix gave him a ton of cash. I think they bought the Knives Out franchise for like $600 million or something.
Gosh.
So he's going to do at least another one.
Yeah.
But if they did one of these every like few years, I would be very happy. Just keep it going.
I would be happy too, but I want to see it go like, I don't know, crazier or something like that. But I mean, at the same time, I don't want it to be like a broad, like, you know, studio comedy, but like they're like there's hardly any comedies these days, you know, so it's like hard to even, so I still want it to be like a fun mystery, but I don't want it to be like too like a cheap shot kind of full of gags. But I felt like this, it created a good balance between
it rode the line,
silliness and the good mystery stuff,
because all the characters are just so like idiotic
over the top.
Yeah,
they're very over the top.
It's like, you know, they're
acting over the top,
kind of skewering like influencer culture and you know,
like Jeff Bezos,
genius billionaires
type,
and all this sort of crap. So it's a fun, he's kind of doing the same thing. He's going after, like, you know, the rich and powerful and all this sort of stuff, the same
which
as the first
I think
movie
is
did.
Good, but there is a little level of smugness to it, and I wonder where could the franchise go, because I don't want it to just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it should maybe, it also doesn't necessarily have to have like a theme. I just want to see like a fun mystery with some funny characters and good dialogue.
Yeah.
I really, really liked, what was her? She was in Blonde. The character from
Anna de
Armas in the first movie.
Yeah, she was really good.
Felt for her character. And you're with her like the whole time. And there's a similar character in this, but you don't get her perspective until later.
Like later, yeah. They do a similar thing to the first one, in which they kind of twist things up at a certain point, like midway through the first one. I think you kind of find out that yes, she actually did. Like,
or was it? I thought it was like earlier in the.
It might have been earlier, yeah. But there is a similar thing in this one where they kind of do a time jump and kind of you recontextualize the entire movie up to the
works
point.
For some people and doesn't work for other people on a narrative level. I was okay with it, but at the same time, like, I wish that it was a little more like, I mean, it was, but I don't know. As I said, I was like, I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to give anything away.
Well, I kind of liked like revisiting everything that you'd seen from a different perspective.
Back to the Future 2 style.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. And, you know,
I like that too.
Certain conversations that you were kind of confused about before, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, it's interesting. So it's a fun movie. It was fun seeing it with a full house. Audience was really digging it. Yeah, it was good. It's a fun little ride, I think.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see more.
Oh yeah, like I said, if these came out like every 2-3 years, it'd be great. Keep doing it.
Okay, so that's 2 new movies. Let's maybe switch to a TV show.
A TV show.
Well, I really enjoyed the Chippendales show.
Welcome to Chippendales.
Something that no one else even seems to know exists or is even talking about.
It's just weird. It's on Disney Plus in Canada.
It stars Kumail Nanjiani. I guess it's a Stars show.
Yeah.
Hulu, maybe. It might be for people in the States. It's called Welcome to Chippendales, and it's the real life story of the Chippendales clubs, and it's really interesting.
I had no idea any of this happened.
Well, the thing is, the first episode, it talks about that guy who Dan Stevens plays and his girlfriend and her her husband or relationship with Peter Bogdanovich. I actually did know about that because I want to say
Dorothy.
I want to say Justin and Will talked about it on Important Cinema Club because I remember them saying like this was because I think they did a Peter Bogdanovich episode and saying this was the guy. He actually was a founding member of Chippendales. Anyway, you can look up the tragic story. That's in episode 1. But the real star of the show is Kumail Nanjiani.
Dorothy Stratton.
That's right. Yeah.
And Paul Snyder.
And it's like a real life tragedy that is connected to this story.
Yeah, there was a movie called Star 80 that was made about it with Eric Roberts and Mariel Hemingway.
Oh, did he play the
yes.
Okay.
And he was great. He was such a scumbag.
But Dan Stevens is great too in this. But yeah, Kumail Nanjiani is so jacked in this.
They can't hide it.
But they have to hide it, but
because
they can't.
He got jacked for the Eternals. So they have him wearing this suit.
Here's my question. In the 80s, weren't suits baggier? Or is he just so big they can't even put him in a giant suit?
I think the guy is a little kind of tubbier in real life.
He is, yeah.
Maybe they just had him like wearing bigger suits, but like he'll sit down and
you can see
he'll just bend his arm and you can just see his like biceps like stretching the suit.
He got swole for the Eternals.
So jacked, and his like just neck muscles or they just can't hide the fact that he's
never show
jacked.
him without a shirt on.
It's like they go to comical effect to like hide. Even when
he's like sitting behind desks for most of the show.
Even when he's in prison, I think wearing like he's got like long sleeves like to hide his arms and stuff. It's really funny.
But he's really great as this character.
Yeah,
Steve Banerjee, and it's a really interesting story. It's by the same guys who did from the guys who brought you Tam and Pommy. Pam and Tommy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I watched all of and really enjoyed. Colin, you didn't watch that?
I watched like a part of the first episode.
I enjoyed it.
I got the gist.
This was, I think this was better.
It's just more interesting because the story, I had no idea about the backstory on any of these things. And holy cow, like the directions it goes are just it's just insane.
Yeah, and like Juliette Lewis shows up and she's always great. And
fantastic cast. I don't know who the guy is. Basically, it's like Kumail Nanjiani plays the guy who kind of started Chippendales, but with the help of other people, and one of the other guys is like the choreographer who kind of becomes the star of and
he is down and out, and he sees himself as the savior who makes Chippendales which he kind of does. And it's true, because while it was successful, he was like, okay, you need better costumes, you need actual dancers, and you need actual routines. And he really did innovate what it became, but the rivalry between them continued until he could perhaps a dramatic finale.
It's funny seeing Kumail. He just could have ridden it out and just let things be, but he's just so
the character
jealous, and like he wants to be the boss. He wants to be the person in charge, and he can't stand the fact that this other guy is making decisions behind his back, even though that they're good ones. He just can't let the power go.
And like you could say, the reason I like this show is that it feels like there's enough to be a show.
Yeah,
you know how sometimes you watch a show and you're like, well, this didn't need to be 10 episodes. This could have been a movie. I like how they build it up, because you really got to know Steve. And then you also got to know, what was his name? Mike, the other guy? I forget. But you really got to know where they were coming from, so you understand their characters.
Yeah, and
it was well told.
Yeah, and there's a lot of story, and it just keeps going, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, like how can this get any crazier?
How can it get any crazier? Yeah, and I mean it's the 80s. There's a lot of cocaine and disco,
a lot of drugs, and
70s,
sex
80s.
And
it's the glitz and glamour of the time. So I like stuff set during that time period.
Mm-hmm. But he always and Kumail is good. He's always so like miserable and intense. Like he just can't like enjoy.
He can't get a win. He can't, even when he gets a win, he fucks it up.
Yeah, if something isn't his idea and it's successful, he just gets so angry, and it just brings him down. Like his ego just destroys everything.
He's a really good actor. And
he was really good in this. It
was nice to see him get the lead in a series
and play this like asshole. This, huge asshole.
You do understand. I mean, you understand where he's coming from. He's more of a fuck up than an asshole.
He's a horrible person.
Well, actually, I mean, the things that he did, they're pretty bad.
But it just all comes from his insecurity. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
he's like comes from, I think he's like from Indian family. I know he's
Steve Banerjee. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it all comes from like, his parents, and, his need to be successful to like prove to his parents that, he can make something of his life.
They think he's, they don't, when they
find
out, exactly, that he's created Chippendales. But it's kind of funny because you think of Chippendales, you're like, well, who was the person that came up with that? And like, then you find out, and it's like not what you would have think.
Fun male strippers, and like the story behind it, oh my God, it's so sordid.
Yeah, but it was a fun show, and I'm
definitely worth a watch. If you don't know anything about the story, like check it out, because I had no idea about any of this stuff. All right. Well, what did we talk about? Another movie that we saw called The Menu.
Oh, yeah, The Menu. We unfortunately watched a low-res version of it. Don't do what we did. Accidentally, we watched like a 720p Maybe it was 1080, but
it was a screener.
It's available, exactly, but it's available. Well, we realized later that it was on Disney Plus.
Like the next day, it came out on Disney Plus.
It's available other places
in like 4K
don't
HDR.
Watch a low-res screener if you have one.
Yeah, but, this is a really good movie, really fun.
Speaking of which, good-looking movie.
Yeah, terrific.
I remember saying, "Oh, they got the director of Chef's Table to do this because the Chef's Table, the Netflix show.
Oh yeah,
we've only watched like a few episodes, but all these like beautiful shots of the food with these like steam coming off it, these black marble tables, and it's just like, ooh. So like obviously, I'm a food fan. I hesitate to use the word foodie because that's just
obnoxious. Because then you'd be one of the characters in this movie.
But I love how they're not even real foodies. They're all just jerks,
just fakes. So it's like Ray Fiennes is like this famous chef. He's got this private island that people pay. I think $1,250 a head.
Oh, is that what they said?
I think Nicholas Hoult says that. He says, "Oh, it's $1,250 a head." To
he says it.
Get boated over to this island and have this amazing how many course dinner, blah, blah, blah. And then like all the characters are kind of revealed on the boat. We have like John Leguizamo. We've got, what's her name? The Queen's Gambit girl.
Oh, Anna Taylor-Joy.
Oh, thank you very much.
And then some other actors who are...
Judith Light from Who's the Boss?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say nobody I know by name, but I guess Judith Light.
Yeah.
But what I like about this movie is that it's high concept. It's one location, so I don't know what the budget was, but it felt like mid-budget, not like this big, huge, high-budget thing. They were able to just kind of shoot it all in one location.
But it never felt cheap. Really good cast, really good acting.
The lady from The Watchmen. I don't know her name, but she was really good.
That's right. As like the kind of maitre d' kind of manager. Oh my God, she's so good.
Very strong performances. And I love the sense that like, obviously I've seen the trailer, so I know things are going to go bad.
Yeah.
But you don't know exactly how, and you're kind of like waiting for it. And then it really starts to go crazy.
Or
like
why, yeah.
Yeah.
The trailer for me... It kind of looked interesting, but I wasn't really, really excited about it.
I wasn't like super excited, but it played TIFF, and I was like, oh, I want to see that, which of course I didn't because I never go to any TIFF movies.
The trailer kind of makes it seem like it's going to be a lot goofier and like, I don't know, it makes it seem a little different than what it actually is. So I was like pleasantly surprised when I saw it. I was like, wow, okay, that was a lot darker than I thought.
But it is a dark comedy.
Sure.
I would never call it a drama.
Oh, no.
It's definitely still fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has more of an edge to it.
It was much better than I thought it was going to be. And
a nihilistic edge.
Yeah, it's really good.
But
Ray Fiennes is great.
I guess we'll not talk about spoilers, but at the end, like it didn't end how I thought it was going to happen.
No, not at all.
I would say, yeah, it was not what I expected. But yeah, Ray Fiennes, he deserves an Oscar nomination for that performance.
He's great. It's just so good. I think everyone in the cast is fantastic.
He's just top notch. Yeah, I would agree. But I mean, a lot of things you don't really get to know like the other guests. It's really just like kind of Nicholas Hoult and Anna Taylor-Joy, and then we get like a little bits and pieces of the other people.
You get to know them
and then Ray
a little bit and like why they're there. It turns out like the chef has like a connection to all of these people, and he's brought them there for.
I just remembered what his connection to John Leguizamo was.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about
John Leguizamo plays this like sleazy.
He's basically John Leguizamo, only if he was a worse actor.
He's kind of like a washed up like actor
who's like, I'm getting into a reality TV. I'm going to host a travel show where I go around and eat food. And yeah. So he's like, he's washed up. That's where he is at her.
It kind of just turns out that everybody is like kind of a scumbag or has
that really don't care about food. They only see it as a status symbol.
Yeah, and it's like Nicholas Hoult is like this sort of Instagram. He's got to like take pictures for the social media, even though you're forbidden.
Character was so funny because you think that he is the one person that really appreciates food.
Yeah.
Because he does in a sense, but then it gets to a point where I realized he's never cooked a day in his life.
Yeah.
He's so rich. He actually doesn't know about cooking. He thinks he knows about food and preparation, but really he only knows it on a superficial level.
Yeah. And Ray Fiennes makes him
He makes him cook in the kitchen.
He makes him do a cooking demonstration for the entire like so chef funny. Staff, and it's so humiliating.
Oh my God. Nicholas Hoult is also
he's so good. And you're just like,
peach.
Oh, you can just feel, I have like secondhand embarrassment for people. It's just so awful. And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad for him. But, he kind of is a douchebag. So, whatever. Really, really good movie. Watch it on Disney Plus. It's 4K and HDR. Don't be like us. Watch a shitty version.
Although I wonder if it is on Disney Plus for those people
Probably
in the
not.
States. I guess it'd be Hulu. I don't know.
Up in Canada, Disney Plus is like it's like the Wild West up here.
It's like the catch-all of everything else. And then we also have something called Crave, so we get new things on that.
Yeah. So we had like Pam and Tommy and Chippendales and stuff on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
which are like just full of sex and drugs and dicks and whatnot.
You didn't see dicks in Wait. Did you? Actually, I think maybe you did.
Maybe you did.
Yeah.
A lot of sex.
Okay, so
Pam and Tommy definitely did.
We've mostly just talked about things that we like. I just want to shortly mention one thing that we started off liking, but then we kind of fell off on, which was the Willow TV show.
Willow.
We watched, I think, the first like 4 episodes. We really tried. But we got to a point where I was just like, oh, I don't care anymore. Yeah. And I feel bad because it had potential.
It's a weird show. It's first of all, it's
Disney Plus.
Beautiful looking. Definitely on Disney Plus. Yeah. Because it's a Ron Howard Disney joint.
No, I've never actually seen the original Willow, and I would like to watch it someday.
It's good. It's a fun little movie, and so I was kind of excited about this. Not excited, but
interested.
Willow, and it's good to see like a fantasy movie or show that I don't know, doesn't look dour and miserable and dark.
No, it's bright and colorful, even though there are dark.
There's one episode where they go to like a haunted castle.
They're in like a crypt like the whole episode.
Yeah, and but it's interesting. So it's very bright and beautiful looking. It's got a very interesting cast. It's got Warwick Davis comes back.
Who's great.
Who's the guy?
Oh, I don't know anyone's name. They're all like actors you've maybe seen in other things.
Like the Indian kid from Grand Budapest. And
oh yeah, I forgot he was in it. Yeah, he's good. He was in the Spider-Man movies too.
That's right. Oh yeah, as Flash
Thomas.
I don't know the names of the characters.
But so good actors. But it's very like they're speaking contemporarily.
Yeah, it's very like anachronistic dialogue. So everybody it is
saying like, "Hey, bro," or stuff like that.
It's very weird.
It's a little like, well, that happened.
Yeah,
and also some of the characters I liked, and other ones I just found annoying after a while.
Yeah, yeah. So it's one of those shows. I don't know. It didn't keep me engaged for the entire show, I think.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, this is interesting. And then it just sort of...
It wasn't good enough.
It kind of wore me down, and it wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't compelling enough to keep going.
Yeah, and I mean, I know after like 4 or maybe even 5 episodes, it was like, okay, I know what the plot is. I don't really care to see it. You know what I mean? I know. I feel like I know where it's going, and I'm just not that interested.
Yeah, not to say it wasn't well done. I think everything is
production-wise,
it looks amazing. Like, it's
and I like
really
that there's magic, and I like that Warwick Davis is back playing a beloved character.
And Joanne Whalley Kilmer, Val Kilmer's ex, she's back.
She's back briefly. Maybe she comes back in later.
It's still going, so I don't know if they're going to have like a Val. They keep mentioning Val's character, Mad Mardigan, but
we won't know because we're not watching it.
Yeah, I'm sure the internet will be abuzz if he comes back.
If anyone is watching it, though, I had not hearing anybody talk about it.
Yeah, it's a weird show. It's so I don't know. It wasn't my bag. I wanted to like it.
We definitely gave it more of a chance.
Yeah, it might play better for I don't know, a younger audience maybe or something.
Maybe.
We've got what was his name? The dad from The Witch. He's
I don't remember his name.
Yeah,
I want to say something Arcus.
He's kind of like the bad guy, sort of bad guy, quote unquote. But I don't know. Check it out. It wasn't really for us, but you might like it. There's things to like about it.
Now, how about The Last of Us?
Oh yeah, speaking of dour,
it broke the video game movie curse. Speaking of dour things, so I didn't want to watch this show because I don't want to watch dark, depressing things.
You saw me play the second game.
Honestly, I just listened to you play that game, and it was a nightmare.
I don't blame you because I did not care for that game very much.
Yeah.
I loved the first one. Like it's, played it many, many times. It's one of my favorite games.
It's a favorite of many, many people.
Yes.
And I totally get why they're making the show, because it's like one of the most popular video games probably, I guess, of all time.
Yeah. And, I don't know. It's some people's bag. Some people think it's, just too much story and blah, blah, blah. But I think that's what I liked about the game. It was just the characters.
How much gameplay is in this game?
There is.
Is it more cutscene than
no,
gameplay?
No. And there's not a lot of cutscenes. It's actually the characters talk while you're playing the game.
Oh,
so
yeah, neat.
It kind of builds that way, even though there are kind of cutscenes, but it's
And okay, so because I've never played the game, is it like puzzle solving and like first person shooting
shooter stealth
stuff,
with some minor puzzle stuff, like you'll have to do something to cross a river
bridge.
or something. One character will have to swim over and bring something back. Another character can't swim.
Basic stuff, but well done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Must be, because it's like a super popular.
Yeah, very well done. If you like the crafting type stuff. But yeah, great characters, great story.
Does like
emotional.
What you do affect the story, or is it more like there's really only one way?
There's one way.
It's
very linear in that respect, but the ending is fantastic. Like it's really, really good. Mm-hmm. Second game, I wasn't really into. I played it very late after all the kind of hubbub had died about it. Everybody was hating on it for a while. I'm like, let's give it a shot. Kind of liked it up to a point, and then it just sort of kept going and going and going, and it just became like misery porn.
Yeah,
and a
slog.
Just a slog to get through, especially when you kind of switch characters at one point, and the second half just kept going for so long that I was just tired.
Yeah,
of playing
I think
it.
I was like in the back room reading, and I could just hear like.
Yeah.
Oh, the horrible sounds of people going fighting either zombies or fighting or drowning, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think it just goes on far too long, and I think you can't identify with the characters anymore. Like they just do things that are just so crazy and like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And I've just
maybe that's something they'll fix in the TV show. If it, you think it's going to make it to the second game?
Well, here's the thing about the show is, the first episode is out. It's pretty much exactly like the game. So I don't know if they're going to, I don't know how much they're going to deviate, if at all, but it's beat for beat the same story. The locations all look the same. The characters look the same. There's some added stuff, here and there that just to flesh things out a bit, but nothing deviates from the game.
So having played the first game, do you feel like that story would be well adapted into a TV show without them changing much?
Absolutely. But here's the thing, and here's the issue that I had with it. It's so much like the game. Like we're not talking about, hey, it's a Super Mario game. How's that going to be made into a movie? We're talking about
this is a narrative-based
game where it's the graphics are very real. It's got a full script. It's got amazing acting. So if you're just translating that to TV and just doing exactly the same thing, there's nothing there to kind of surprise me as a person who's played the game. You're just sort of watching something. It's like just watching the game without the being able to play the game.
Yeah, it's like, what I was just reminded of? The Disney live action sequel remakes. Because it's like, what I want to see? Something that was animated in in live action. Yeah. And it's like, what is the point of that? But as I said the other day, I think the point of this is there are tons of people who did not play the game, who have no idea that this was a game.
Yeah. So
people who have HBO,
in that respect,
they'd probably love it.
I mean, it's a great looking show. They did it very well. It's very true to the game.
And I think there is an audience for people who have played the game who just want, as I was just saying about the Disney thing, they just want to see it done with real actors. But if it doesn't, is it going to look better than the game? Because if it's not, then I really don't think there's a point.
Well, I mean, it's live action.
Bigger budget?
I guess. but the game already had
it's
like a
live
huge
action,
budget.
but I was saying to my friend the other day, like big environments, that are like, post-apocalyptic or whatever. There are, if this is in a show, it's not real. It's a VFX.
Right.
In a TV show.
Right.
So it was a VFX in the game, and now it's a VFX in the TV show.
Yeah, but
it can't be the same, right? It's going to look even more. That's the thing. Wasn't the game already photorealistic?
Exactly.
So it's like, what are we doing here?
Exactly. So there's barely a kind of translation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe it's a little more sophisticated because when did that game come out? 2013?
Well, it was remade like twice. So it came out on the
original.
PS3. The original came out on the PS3, and then it was remade for the. Remastered for the PS4.
Yes.
And then recently they remade it like from ground up
like
for
with
the
all
PS5.
new graphics.
Yeah. So it's even better looking now on the PS5 than it was, on the PS3. So now there's even less of a difference between that and like the TV show. But I don't know, for me, I was kind of like half watching it almost because I knew what was coming, and it was shot exactly the same. And, you kind of know there's when there's no surprises, you kind of just, I don't know, lose interest.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, you say that, but it's like we watch movies that we've seen before. We watch TV shows that we know what happens if we've seen before.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. If it's just going to do that, if it's going to be exactly like the game, then I'd just rather play the game.
I think maybe the people who made it are worried that the fans would revolt if it's changed too much,
so it's a fine line to walk. It's like, what do you do? Do you be so beholden to the game that you just do it exactly, or
and I believe people are afraid of gamers because we all know
God
they
almighty.
can have
the worst
large negative effects on things.
All fandoms are toxic and horrible. They're the worst. We'll see how it goes. If they maybe do the side, keep it like similar to the game, but kind of flesh it out a little more like they did in the first episode, it might be.
I think that would be good. Use this medium as an opportunity to do things that you couldn't do in a game. Maybe add some flashbacks or go crazy.
I mean, you can do that in a game. They do it in the games, actually.
I guess they can do anything.
They can do anything.
Except in a game, you can put gameplay in.
Exactly.
In a movie, you can't.
You can actually do the things.
Or a TV show.
We'll see where they go with it. But yeah, it's well done. I mean, the actors are great. It looks great. It's by the creators of Chernobyl, so happy fun times.
Yeah. So speaking of TV shows that are based on video games, there's one that has been popping up on a lot of people's best of year-end lists, just in general for things that people really, really love, which is...
Velma. No, wait. Sorry.
The Keanu Reeves video game. Cyberpunk.
20-something.
What was the name of it?
I can't remember. 2029. I don't know. Whatever.
No, a game we did not play.
I did not play it because it was so fucking broken when it came out. Nobody could play it.
When even was that? Like 2 years ago?
No. I think it was like last year or something like that. I never played it. I probably never will because I do not want to support CD Projekt Red because they're scumbags. Because they knew they released a broken game, especially on the PS4. This pissed me off so much. Is they refused to let reviewers use their own footage of the PS4 game.
That's insane.
To show that it's broken, they made them use pre-recorded clips that they supplied.
That's just
and so they knew the game was broken and didn't work, and they did not tell anybody, and they wouldn't allow anybody to tell anybody. So people bought
whack.
it. I know, that is scumbaggery at the highest level. Sony had to call them out and banned the game from the PlayStation Store.
Well, I'm not quite sure what the relationship is between the makers of this anime and CD Projekt Red. I'm not sure how this even really became to be. I didn't do any research on it.
I have a feeling it might be just like the Animatrix, where it's kind of like, hey, let's, here's the world we created.
But do you think whose idea was it to make a TV show, or maybe was this anime production company like, we want to make this TV show?
Maybe it was.
I don't know.
Maybe it was like during the development of the game or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, tell some stories in this world. Here's the world that we created.
If that's the case, it should have came out before the game, right? To hype people up.
I guess.
Although that's not how it happened with Animatrix. You're right. It was like, we want more Matrix. Although, wasn't that in between the sequels and the first one?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was hyping people up.
Yeah, it was. And it's kind of like, let our favorite anime directors like play in our world sort of thing. But this one is one continuous story. It's not like multiple stories like Animatrix.
And it's one production company doing everything, animating everything.
And it's really cool.
It's really good. So I had heard such good things about this. I was like, and then I kept forgetting to watch it. Yeah. So we only just started watching it last week. And I think we still have 1 or 2 episodes left.
I think so, at least 2.
But it's a really great show. It's definitely in the hyper-violent action show of anime.
Big time.
But I like all kinds of anime. I watch a large variety. I like slice of life stuff. I watch maybe a little bit of romance stuff. I love cute things. I also like I like dramas. I love mysteries, and I like super violent action stuff too. This is very similar to Psycho-Pass, which is like a neo-noir future where cops have guns that like they point at criminals, and it's kind of like Judge Dredd, and it like judges them guilty, and then it like goes off. So and like there's a whole like conspiracy over where the guns come from. So
like so many
like that kind of world.
So many genres in anime, which is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, also sports anime I like.
I know, it's crazy.
Anime.
I'm so jealous because they have like animes about everything pretty much, and then
other genres don't have
North
that.
American fucking CG animation. It's like another talking animal movie, another talking animal child comedy.
Yeah,
Great.
although I mean there are tropes that you see a bajillion times in anime as well. They all take place in high school and it all stars teenagers, but there's different stuff too. Yeah. There's enough different stuff that keeps you going. But like I really fell off of anime in the last half of the year for whatever reason, and this was like wow. It was so well animated.
Yeah, it's so cool looking, and like it's got so much style and energy.
Fun music.
Yeah.
It's a lot of characters, and it's kind of a lot of plot that I found a little bit confusing. I have a feeling like if we watched the dub, I probably would have been less confused.
You're kind of doing things and like trying to watch
a little bit, and there's like a lot of subtitles to read. And
also, we're kind of watching it over like very randomly. We're watching episodes.
We watched it kind of in 3 chunks.
Yeah, and then like, oh yeah, shit, we should watch that again. And we haven't watched
There's
it.
There's
no
recap. So. But that aside, it's a good story about just this young kid who has some kind of tragedy kind of befall him, and he decides to be a bounty hunter, basically.
Get in with these like criminals who all have like kind of cybernetic enhancements and stuff like that.
And I have to say, after watching what we have of the show, this looks like a video game I'd like to play.
Yeah, I don't know if it has anything to do with the video game though, other than being in the world.
Like, you get to have chrome attachments, for sure. And you probably do cool stuff.
None of these characters.
No,
I which is what I've heard.
Yeah,
I don't know, and I will never know because I will never give them money.
But it goes to show you, like, you could take the basics of a world that is made for any medium, movie, video game, book, poem, whatever, and you can make it into something else. And this is a case of it really working.
Yeah, for sure. Probably getting much better reviews than the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like not a lot of animes are based on mangas. Yeah. So like that's comic book to anime. And this is like, wow, like I don't know anything about the game, but I think that is kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's a cool world.
It's kind of been done before, but not exactly in this way that I've seen.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just, I don't know, it's just told very well. The animation is great. It is very, very violent. It
doesn't get super violent until like the second half.
Yeah, but
although I mean there's violence
second half, like the first episode.
Second episode. It's like fun violence, and then it's like serious
like
violence.
Heads are exploding, bodies are exploding.
It doesn't get insane until I think that like 4th or 5th episode, where with heads like flying off and like blood spray doing the big like anime thing.
But
it's on Netflix.
Really good show. So I don't know. Check it out if you were kind of hesitant because you weren't a fan of Cyberpunk, the game.
Or I bet you there's a lot of people out here who didn't even know about it. But it's getting a lot of word of mouth. So
which is how we kind of found out about it.
But honestly, I get so annoyed with the anime on Netflix because it's not advertised, and it should be all over my feed.
That's like Netflix, though. That's anything on Netflix.
But because I watch anime on Netflix, and it's like I just discovered the other day there's a cool show on there that I had never even heard of, and it had been out for 3 years.
It's not just anime; it's everything. Like literally,
it's everything on the platform.
The biggest Netflix movie released, you'll go to like Netflix day of release. You will not see it anywhere. You'll have to hunt for it.
Well, they pick and choose. So like Ryan Johnson must be affiliated or money or whatever. So Glass Onion always pops up. Harry and Meghan always pops up.
Yeah, because they paid tons of cash for it.
That's it. So otherwise, you can totally miss stuff, which, don't like that.
Yeah, you got to go hunting for stuff on Netflix, which is too sad. I'm so glad I didn't get into that 1899 show or whatever the hell it was.
It's canceled.
It's canceled. It's like, don't ever like a show on Netflix. It'll be canceled, which is... I don't know if they're going to do another season of Cyberpunk Edgerunners, but
I sure hope so. I haven't seen how it ends though.
Canceled.
So maybe it's
it's already been canceled. It was greenlit and then canceled 5 minutes later.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. We got a few more things. Well, we can talk. One big thing is the White Lotus season 2 that we watched.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's good. No, we haven't seen the first season.
I haven't seen season 1, but it's a self-contained story, so I really don't think I need to see it. I kind of feel like it's not like, I don't know if it really lived up to the hype, but I did really enjoy it. Yeah. And like people were saying, like it gets crazy. It doesn't get crazy.
It does not get that crazy,
but it is fun.
It is fun. I like. So this is like a self-contained show. It takes place each season at like the White Lotus Resort.
Yeah, it's like a chain resort. Yeah.
So the first season was in Hawaii.
I think it's Hawaii.
We kind of watched like a half of the first episode, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
really...
and it didn't really grab me. But that show did win a lot of accolades. People liked it good enough for it to get a season 2.
Jennifer Coolidge.
And then people really, really liked season 2. So it's like, okay, let's watch this. And we binged it in 2 days.
Yeah.
I am very happy that I binged it because I feel like I would be a little annoyed watching it week to week because not a lot happens in one episode, especially in those earlier ones. It's all just set up, and it's very slow burn. But there's a lot of really, really good things in this that, like, it's a solid show. I don't think it's, like, my favorite show or anything.
No. And the thing about it is, I was kind of thinking about it. It's not really, there isn't a whole lot of plot or there's no twists and turns, really. It's kind of...
if you take every story individually and talk about what happens in it, it's not that crazy.
Interesting.
But when they're kind of interweaving, it's fun.
It is fun. It keeps the energy going. So
when the characters are interacting with each other, and then they will leave each other and branch off, and then maybe kind of come back.
Yeah, but there isn't like any crazy reveals or any of the sort of this stuff. Not really. It's not that kind of thing.
Maybe a little bit like on the last episode, regarding to the Jennifer Coolidge character.
Yeah, a little bit.
But the other characters, it's like, it's not that insane, but what happens, and it's not that I couldn't guess what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I kind of kept waiting for more kind of crazier stuff to happen, like the Aubrey Plaza couple thing. It's really just kind of an average drama.
Yeah. And I was like calling everything that was going to happen, like.
But I still enjoyed watching it.
For sure, it's like an enjoyable show. It's not like mind blowing.
What I really like about it is its use of music, tension, fun B-roll of like the ocean, CGI seagulls.
Lots of CGI birds.
F. Murray Abraham.
F. Murray Abraham is great. Very underused, though. I wanted more of him.
The dialogue was really funny. Yeah. And I really do give props to Mike White because he knows how to write realistic sounding conversations. Yeah. And this is heightened. Of course it's heightened. It's a drama on HBO. But it felt natural to me in a way that you don't feel necessarily on other shows.
And it was funny. It was really funny. A ton of sex. Talking about dicks.
There were a few dicks. The Jennifer Coolidge character is hilarious.
Yeah, she's very funny.
I get why people have been talking about her so much.
She's kind of like the
funny.
standout, like kind of character, comedic character in the show. I think. I don't know.
I would agree.
But
there aren't a lot of other big characters.
No.
They're medium characters.
Yeah. And
I'm still kind of processing it because we kind of like just watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to kind of be into like a relationship drama show.
Yeah.
It's because it's, you know, much like a lot of HBO shows, it's just a soap opera. But I was like sitting there being like, I want to know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we watched it all in 2 nights.
Yeah.
And that's like, and we did the same thing with Succession. It's like, well, everyone's talking about this show.
No, that's a fucking show.
Oh my God, we've watched 2 seasons in a week.
That's like one of those shows where you're just like, holy shit, they can't stop watching. It's amazing.
I know.
This is not that. And
No.
don't go in expecting anything mind blowing or whatever. It's just like
it's a slow burn,
enjoyable
drama
watch.
with definitely some funny moments. Yeah, I would call it like 50% comedy, 50% drama, maybe more drama.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. But yeah, it's a fun watch. Check it out.
I would check it out, yeah.
Yeah, don't expect your mind to explode.
It's I like the Italy location, Sicily.
It's nice watching the location
nice,
stuff.
Yeah. That is a
beautiful.
part of it, especially right now and we're in the dead of winter over here.
Yeah, if it was set at some
freezing.
like crappy hotel in like, I don't know, New Jersey or something.
White Lotus, New Jersey.
It wouldn't be the same. Yeah, where are they going to go next?
We're opening up a White Lotus in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
That's season 3.
Might have fallen off the back of a truck. What do you care?
But if anyone watching is a Survivor fan, there's 2 Survivor contestants in the opening scene of White Lotus season 2.
Because Mike White was on Survivor.
He was on Survivor, David versus Goliath, which I think was 3 or 4 seasons ago. And I did the Leonardo DiCaprio snap and point.
Yeah.
Because 2 of his cast members, who he was in an alliance with, actually, were in that opening scene, which was so cool. And I'm the only person who watches Survivor anymore, apparently, other than like millions of other viewers, but the only person I know personally.
Another show, speaking of which, that you just started watching because you haven't seen the entire thing is Mr. Show. We were watching that on Crave.
So Mr. Show's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I mean, we kind of... we kept like watching it, I think, after we've like had drinks. So
yeah.
I think we ended up watching season 3 like 3 times. And I'm just like, wait a minute, I've seen this. So now we're on season 4 and oh my God, every sketch is like
it's pretty great.
A complete home run.
I had all the DVDs when these first came out like years and years ago. It's funny because I found out about the show because my friend gave me all copies of them on VHS. It's like when somebody says, hey guys, turn around and play the tape. So I watched them on VHS and then they all got DVD releases, which is fantastic. So I had all the DVDs, listened to all the commentaries. I have the book, What Happened,
where they talk about every sketch.
Yeah, I was written by Bob. Did you
listen to the commentaries?
Oh yeah, I love the commentaries. They're so funny.
I heard it's all just Bob Odenkirk saying, well, this is not what I wanted, and
Pretty
this
much.
is not funny, and this didn't work out, and I have regrets.
He's kind of like all like negative on everything because he's such a perfectionist. But then, they have all the cast there, like Paul F. Tompkins and Jay Johnson and, David Cross, everybody. So they all kind of riff.
I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
Some episodes, I think like during some skits that Bob hates, like a couple of people will like improv dialogue. So if you
like
watch
it,
it's really funny.
Wait, do you still have these DVDs?
No, I gave them away. So I know.
Maybe
sucks.
I can rent them from the library.
But classic show. It's really funny. So we're almost finished. Like, we've got about 4 episodes left.
And so what do you think about the newer season that's on Netflix?
It was pretty good. I don't remember much about it.
It was probably the same thing. It was like you watched it really fast and then it was...
and I think it was only like a few episodes.
I want to say that like when we first met, we put it on late one night and I was like, oh, I've never seen Mr. Show. And I remember like a space sketch.
I can't remember. I can't remember any of the sketches. I think I have a feeling it was only like 3 or 4 episodes, if that.
Okay,
and then one
it's got to still be on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
it's not like
and then
they take it off.
One making up episode. And I remember liking it and thinking, oh yeah, it just feels like the old. It feels like these sketches could be in the old show. You know what I mean?
Well, that's nice.
So I'll have to rewatch it and see what I think. But yeah, classic show. Another thing we watched it was kind of like a newer movie that was playing at the indie festivals. It was Deadstream,
Oh yeah, we should talk about Deadstream because you really wanted to watch this.
I did.
You were the one who told me about it.
Well, I'd been hearing about it. I think it played Midnight Madness at TIFF. I don't remember.
Might have been After Dark.
Might have been After Dark. I can't remember. But yeah, everybody was like talking about it. It's about kind of like a streamer. A streamer. Who's going to do like an overnight stream in this haunted house or
now,
something
was this
like
a Shudder movie?
It might have been picked up by Shudder.
I feel like this was where this was available.
Maybe.
But when did it come out? 2021?
No. I think it was just last year. It was playing in festivals. Yeah.
So when you told me about it, I was like, oh, is it like one of those
like found footage movies?
Not found footage movies, screen movies, like Searching or Unfriended.
I see. And where they take place just on like...
Sure, but no, it's not. It's more like Blair Witch, where it's a POV.
But a comedy.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm very much glad it was because that's more interesting to me. It's more fun. They get the chance to do kind of more crazy things,
There's a lot of good gags. Some like the streamer kind of sets
low budget effects.
Yeah, he kind of sets up these like remote cams in rooms, and he's got his laptop that he can, or his like iPad that he can control all the cameras, so you can cut back and forth between these multiple cameras, and it kind of makes sense in the world.
Yeah.
So you're not wondering like, how is he getting like this
exactly? Angle? It felt like, okay, this guy could really do this. It felt real,
yeah. And it makes it sort of more interesting. You can get all these different angles, but it's very fun. It's a good watch.
It's definitely a horror comedy. Yeah. The main character is a bit much, but
he's a bit like
I was okay with him. He's carrying this whole movie on his shoulders, and he
does.
Wrote and co-directed it.
I think so. Yeah. And he's a bit like shrill at times, and I think it can kind of grate on you. But I think I grew to like him as it went along.
But the thing is, you're actually not supposed to like him because he's a jerk.
Kind of a dick.
And then like things about him become revealed where he's actually a terrible person.
He's got like a kind of checkered
as all
past.
Influences are, right?
Yeah.
Influencers.
But it's funny. It's just got a good little premise, like good execution,
some fun monster like makeup stuff that is very low budget, and that gives it charm.
Yeah, it's good.
I like that I can see like a kind of a rubber mask and be like, I can see what they're going for, and it's pretty good.
You said it was like a movie that you could picture you and your friends making after you watched it. But
basically, yes.
Not in a negative way, in a very good way.
In a great way.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
If it makes me feel kind of that kind of charm, that it's not like some big... I'd rather see that any day than a big studio movie that producers have had their hands in and ruined the vision of the directors. This is just like... this small group of people did really good with what they were.
This would have done well at like seeing it in a festival, in like a theater.
I would love to see this like at a horror
This
fest.
would have killed, really fun. Check it out. And then another Dead movie, which you hadn't seen before.
Okay, Dead Calm.
Dead Calm.
All right, we're going to close off with this because this is not a new movie. In fact, isn't it from 1980 or something?
I think it's like 89 maybe.
Oh, shit. It's almost the 90s?
I
think it's like mid-80s.
I don't...
Oh, no, maybe it's not. All I'm saying, I'm just saying this because Nicole Kidman was so young.
She's like 22 or 23. But yeah, it's like Sam Neill, Nicole Kidman, and Billy Zane, pretty much. It's like a 3-person movie.
Yeah, it was a really fun... horror, I would call it a thriller on the sea.
It's really good. So like Nicole Kidman and Sam Neill are married. They go on this little.
They have a yacht, and they're kind of on a
very large yacht,
a grief vacation.
Yeah,
much like Antichrist.
Yeah, and then
although it's not that dark.
They kind of come across this sinking ship, and Billy Zane is like rowing to their boat.
And that ship looks like a pirate ship.
It does.
Why? But it's kind of a mystery because like Billy Zane shows up. He has a story that they're not sure if they buy. Sam Neill goes to the ship to investigate, and he finds all this weird shit.
And then he's stranded, and they take off. So it's pretty much Billy Zane and Nicole Kidman
and Zane is like a psychopath.
He's crazy Zane, yeah. He's so
crazy Zane.
He's so sweaty. He's in Zane.
But it's obviously hot. It's Australia, right?
I don't know where there's sailing
Australian
from
movie.
Australia. He is so sweaty in this movie. It's great. At one point, he's like banging on a door, and he makes the door sweaty from all his sweat. like on his hand.
He's a method actor.
Yeah, and it's just about, kind of Nicole Kidman trying to like...
She's trying to navigate in more ways than one.
Yeah.
His personality trying to make... Because he kind of like likes her. He's like, forget about your husband. You're with me now. And we're going to live our life together. And she's like, oh my God. So, and she finds a way to communicate with Sam Neill, who's on a ship, as you mentioned, that's sinking.
Yeah.
And there's like this... So there's this ticking clock element. It was really fun.
It's very well done, and it's just an example of like just a good, well shot, well scripted movie. It's like
simple story,
3 people, but just like really tense and good. It's got a lot of like good elements.
George Miller.
Yeah, that's right. George Miller produced it.
Yeah,
Mad Max,
which I can see. Yeah,
director Kennedy Miller. That's like was his producing partner.
Yeah, so it has this kind of. I don't want to say like action movie-ness thing too, but it has this like
not really
this kind of like, well, almost like a slow burn,
survival
this energy where you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what this guy could do at any point. And there's also the elements,
an enclosed environment with this, on the wide ocean with not
this scary
not
guy.
A thing in sight. You know what I mean?
And so it's kind of she's outwitting him, and Nicole Kidman. Probably the youngest I've ever seen her in a movie.
Yeah, other than
very
like
strong
BMX Bandits.
Well, I never saw that. We still gotta watch that.
Sam Neill, really, he always looks the same. Sam Neill.
Sam Neill's great.
He's wearing like
always great.
I was saying it's like a proto Alan Grant outfit in that. He's got his denim shirt. He's got the blue shirt. He's got the aviators.
It's same glasses.
Yeah, he's got the pants. So it's about him sort of surviving. He's got to use. He's like in the Australian Navy. He's got to like survive this sinking ship and kind of use all of his skills to kind of like get out of the situation. It's really good, really well done.
And I mean, I will say the movie is bookended by 2 amazing scenes. You have to see this movie just for the opening scene and the end scene, and they are standing ovation.
There is a car crash that
ending scene though was
is hilarious.
I could not. I was feeling the George Miller a little bit on that.
Oh, big time, yeah.
But yeah, you gotta watch this movie. If you can find it, I'm sure it's available somewhere.
For sure, yeah. It's definitely worth a watch. And
Dead Calm.
Dead Calm. Calm.
Yes, and that's. I think that's
it. I think we've covered everything on my list.
Yeah. So. Thank you for listening, and sorry that the full team is not here this week, but hopefully you enjoyed us talking about, a little bit of a variety. And I promise next week we will be back to our regularly scheduled program. Should we give the people a little hint to what we're covering next week?
Well, it's a listener's choice.
It is a listener's choice.
It's a John Waters film.
A John Waters film. Okay, yeah, that could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
All right, that's the hint. It's a John Waters film. So yeah, that'll be out in 2 weeks, and for you Patreon listeners, patreon.com/no such thing as a bad movie. We'll have a Patreon episode out next week as usual. And if all things goes according to schedule, it should be about the new what's his name?
Damien
Chazelle movie.
Babylon.
Babylon?
Babylon.
Yeah.
Abalone.
Yes, and we should all 3 of us should be on that. Hopefully Justin is feeling better.
I know he's got a lot to say. His Letterboxd review is hilarious.
Yeah, it definitely he definitely had a lot of expletives to say. But yeah, patreon.com/no such thing as bad movie. And if you want to email us, we're at no such thing as a bad movie @gmail.com. And if you want, we're also on Twitter at no such thing pod. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at April Edmansky.
And I'm on Twitter at Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA.
And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us.
Check out all these things we talked about.
Maybe check out some of these things.
You might
you're
like
looking
them.
For something new to watch. You might like them, you might not. But there's a lot of stuff on streaming and in theaters, and there's a lot of stuff out right now. Mm-hmm. So try and get yourself out of the January blues.
Speaking of blues,
it was just Blue
go see Avatar. Speaking of blues,
blue elves. And thanks for dropping by. I'm April Edmansky.
I'm Colin Cunningham.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie
or a TV show.